Good morning everybody, Mike here, welcome back to the store. And today I thought we'd do something a bit different. So, the new rework for Raynor and Azmodans are here. And I have a couple of opinions on them. Mainly, per se, on the design of the rework. So let's jump in with Raynor, which I think he has the way better rework. This is not gonna be mainly about balance. Currently, Raynor is way too strong and deals way too much damage. But when it comes to his actual builds and things we can do with his rework, those I think are excellent. On the other hand, Azmodans, I think he's also really good, but in my opinion, pretty balanced. Now, we haven't had that much time to see if Azmodans is balanced or not, but you know. Okay.
Now that's a plan I can get behind.
So, Jimmy, why do I think his rework is one of the best they had in Stop. Why are you attacking? One of the best rework we had in a long time. Well, reason is just because he has 4 builds in that you can like play around with. And when it comes to a rework, Blizzard has always tried to have build diversity and keep the essence of the hero as it was before, right? That's what they always try to do. And in my opinion, they achieved that. Now, Jimmy did had 0 build diversity, too much, because all the talents were bad. So they changed a lot of things about him. But with his new build, with his new rework, he has a lot of options. Now, so there are multiple ways to do a rework. First, we have not a rework, or maybe like a release for a hero build. We have the Ragnaros. Ragnaros is true and true. Pick every Q talent, pick every W talent, pick every E talent. Now, a character like that I think is very rewarding. Spending so much time and effort into one ability, and by the end of the game having that ability feel so goddamn impactful, and what is good to do, what it does well, it does even better, right? I love those kind of reworks. Then on the other hand, or releases, you have Rework. Rework doesn't have a build like, he doesn't have a Q build, right? He doesn't have that, he doesn't have a W or E build. Rework is an amalgamation of talents, all varying in doing the same thing. You have like a tier for your Q, you have a tier for your W. So inherently, you can't go for a Q build, even though per se they could make his Q and his E, and his W, all like, let's say, do the same thing, and put it, let's say they all do percentage damage like bonus. His Q does, his W, and maybe his E, right? And they all put it on the same tier of talent, on level 16 per se, right? Well, then you can say you're going for an E build. But the way they are doing is they're putting all the E talents on one build, on one tier, and giving it each a different thing. Alright? So you don't have the... On some characters you have the wave clear talent on a specific tier, but on Rework it's spread out. So by the end you don't have a clear build, you have an amalgamation of talents that together they create a build. Have like the Rework build, per se, right? That synergizes on your Q pretty much. Now, Jimmy, the way it's made, is pretty much combining Ragnaroses and Reworks into one big hit, which I think is the best medium for all of those. Because on the other hand, even though I like the way Rag is, he can feel a little boring and not as option heavy. On the other hand, you have Rework, which feels very like a large variety of options with him, but you don't really have a coherent build that by the end of it, it clearly makes perfect and total sense. You feel like you're picking the best talents, which is what pros do. You just pick the best talents in every tier. Of course, with some things like when you synergize with them, but sometimes even if you have synergy with a talent, you still pick the better one. Well, the way Jimmy is created, every single talent kind of synergizes with a different build, but all of them can be picked together and make perfect sense. For example, Ace in the Hole. Right. So this talent deals 30% more damage to stunned or slowed heroes. Well, it already has synergy with your Q. That makes sense. It's pretty easy. And then it has perfect synergy with... let me set level to 20.
Choose a talent. Choose a
So
talent.
here's like
Choose a
the...
talent. Choose a
I think it's the Q build, right? This is gonna be the Q build, which synergizes on your Q. Here, you want to pick unstable compound, right? Don't want to pick heavy slugs. This talent doesn't synergize for Q build. It's something different. You pick this talent.
Choose a talent.
Whatever.
Choose a talent.
So here, decrease the cooldown of penetrating round by 3 seconds when an active penetrating round slow is increased by 20%. Alright, makes sense. Good.
Choose
Then
a
you want to go
talent.
paint them red. And
Choose a
then
talent.
you want to go weak spot acquired. Alright, so what does this build do? God damn it. First of all, it synergizes with Ace in a Hole in your Q because you want to deal. This is a burst ability, right? This is what you want to use it for with this, with paint them red, and the cooldown reduction, the bonus slow. The way you use this build, you want to attack, attack, attack. Okay. Stop, stop. Why can't I move this? Stop it. Okay, I should not pick this thing, but so the thing is, you want to attack, you want to proc the minus 25, you want to proc the slow, and then you want to hit your Q, dealing extra damage. So 1, 2, 3, boom, and that was a lot of damage all at once, right? The point of this build is to burst somebody down, and it makes sense. It's coherent, it has synergy between its talent. It's a Q build, or maybe like a burst build. That's the point of it. Alright, what else do we have? Well, you can go for a stacking build. What's the point of that? Well, you want to pick talents that stack. So those are the two talents that stack. Alright, now with Jimmy, you want to pick something that allows you to be very efficient at stacking. I found that with this build, Heavy Slugs is actually very nice. You should try this down, by the way. I'll pick this one just so I don't get annoyed. You want to pick Giddy Up, so gives you movement speed, so you make sure you can sit in there, get as many auto attacks as possible. You want to pick Bounty Hunter because it gives you one application of your D. You want to pick Execute because it gives you attack speed, so you can. The point of this build is have the two stacking talents. This is your engage, right? You want to engage. You want to press one, Q, and then start attacking them since they are slow forever. And this allows you to get all the damage. You have Giddy Up. The whole point is like get as many attacks on somebody and try stacking on them. Have Bounty Hunter to get a new application, which is a stack, and then you have Execute gives you attack speed, which means you attack more often, which means more stacks. Alright, so this is like a stacking build. The point of this is get as many stacks as possible and talent that synergize with stacking. Alright, what else do we have? We have an E build. No, we have a trade build first. I go for a trade build. Where it's pretty simple. By a pure fact, you just pick all the talents with a trait on it. What's really the point of this build? It's just synergize as much as possible with your. So you have like minus 25 armor, slow. You get healing, you get stacking, right? Like it looks at okay. So even though this looks dumb, right? Picking all these talents. It adds something different to the build. Gives you self-sustain on your with your trait. Now you have a lot more sustain without your E being a big part of it, right? So as you can see, all of these talents go into different builds, but they also all of them can be put in different builds, but all of them can be like put together to make a good and coherent build that makes sense throughout, right? What really is the point of this build? Get some self-sustain, pretty much. This is kind of like it's kind of hard to say like why this would be good, but this is just with this because you can stack more because they're slowed, have the movement speed. This stacks more. You have acquire, so you have 1, 2, 3, pop, and just deal massive damage. You have the synergy between your Bounty Hunter and your weak spot acquired, and you just get more stacks. and you get killing while at it. So this makes sense, right? Now, you also have an E-build.
Choose a
Flight or
talent.
Flight, Seal the
Choose a
Rush,
talent.
just so I don't get
Choose a
annoyed.
talent.
Rallying Cry,
Choose a
gives me
talent.
more, and
Choose a
Execute.
talent.
Alright, what's the point of this build, right? An E-build. The point of it is have it as much as up as much as possible. Since you're really tanky and you survive a lot, Veteran Marksman makes perfect sense, so you can stack more. Because you don't die. You have Flight or Flight, perfect sense. Feel the Rush, so you get as much cooldown reduction on this.
Full of daylight.
Can attack me. Right, you pop it.
All day
Okay, good attack speed, and then you pop it, pew 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 pew. See how fast it goes down? So that's the point of this build. You have Rallying Cry, so your Inspire lasts longer, so you get more attack speed, attack in, get bonus healing, and you have bonus range, so you can get more attacks in, and even stack your marksmen. Get more speed, and Execute for more attacks, right? A lot of these talents synergize together, they can make a coherent build, and they're good baseline together. Baseline, right? This is the perfect way you should do a rework. I think Jimmy's rework is one of the best. I won't say this is why it took them so long, because it took them a long ass time, but this is a rework done perfect. Now, he's not balanced whatsoever, just because he deals way too much damage. There's no point in playing Zul'jin or Vala over them, because he has a good, it does have as good mobility as Vala, but he's way tankier. He is a bit less tankier than Zul'jin. Well, I guess the way Zul'jin is, but baseline with his heal, he has more movement than Zul'jin, and he does more damage than both of those, right? So there's not much point in playing those over Raynor. So the balance is off, it needs to be nerfed. But what I think issue is when you have this really good rework, then you go to Azmodan. So let's go to Azmodan. Wait. To Azmodan, because here's where I take issue with Azmodan's rework. It feels very weird, right? A lot of people call it like they are have like a feeling of being off with Azmodan, right? It doesn't quite make sense, and I do agree with him because when you're coming up with a build, like when I did all those 4 builds for Jimmy, it was a lot of fun, like thinking, alright, what works best together, even they're like not like, with Ragnar's, there is no theory crafting, you just pick all the Q, the W and the E talents. Well, I do think where they should take a look at what Rag did, take a bit out of it and give players a bit more choice, right? Which is what they did with Raynor. Now, with Azmodan, all of these are like Q talents, right? All of them are for like minions and being like killing waves from a far range and keeping lanes pushed. This is for a lot more team fighting and more mana intensive, more damage. Have Wrath, which is pretty much a gluttony, but it gives a unique way to stack, and it gives you a lot more burst damage than Gluttony. Gluttony is more damage, more consistent damage. Now, here's where I take problem with this. This is a good talent, right? It's very good talent. It makes sure you can just Q a wave and it dies. Right, that's the added ability of it. When you look at Gluttony and Wrath, there is really no point in picking Gluttony over Wrath. Wrath gives you by far the easiest way out of all of these to stack. Way easier, even than Greed and Gluttony. And the bonus of Gluttony is nowhere near as good as the bonus from Wrath. Nowhere near as good. So it kind of invalidates Gluttony altogether. Now, Greed is still good. I played it in a game on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We had some good wave clear, and we pretty much had like 300,000 siege damage, and the other one was 200, right? The other one. So I massively out push the enemy team with the talent Greed. And it's way less mana intensive than Wrath, just because you don't have to use your ultimate to kill waves. So this has a clear variety. But this one is pointless when you have Wrath. Now, here's where it starts going downhill fast. Army of Hell just makes no sense. Like, if summon a demon war, spawns an additional one by its cooldown is increased by 10 seconds. Alright, what's the point of this? Well, the point of it is you put it in a lane, and then it pushes harder. Because you have two of them. And it's less mana intensive because it has a longer cooldown. Here's the problem. Hellforge armor does the exact same thing, but it gains 35 armor and lasts for seconds longer. Now, Army of Hell in a team fight, it literally does nothing. Nothing. They just die. Even though there are two of them, they just get AoE down every single time without fail. All of them just die. While Hellforge armor, you can just put it in front of your wave, it tanks, it lasts longer, so you can pretty much have two of them out regardless. They are tankier, and Hellforge armor is a better Army of Hell in every single regard, because this makes them really good in team fights because they don't die as fast, right? So, even for the same purpose, Hellforge armor, it literally invalidates Army of Hell. This talent here, I think it's really bad design because at no point will one be better over the other one. No, okay, let me replay. At no point will you be able to choose between them, because at the current moment, Hellforge armor is infinitely better than Army of Hell. Without a doubt, without a question, there is literally no reason to ever pick Army of Hell when Hellforge armor exists. If Hellforge armor gets nerfed and Army of Hell gets buffed, then there's no reason to pick Hellforge armor when Army of Hell exists. You get what I mean? There are two talents that do the exact same thing in the same talent tier. Now, this does have some added synergy with later talents, with Chain of Command and Hell Rift, for example. Which, yes, that's good, but if you don't go for those talents, you're like, then there is no choosing between these two. Especially when you have the next ability, Battleborn, which is even better than both of those. So in retrospect, you should never pick those two, because Battleborn gives Azmodan so not only more Demon Warriors who can spam more in a team fight to get even more annoying, which is pretty much these two talents. This spamming more is the exact same thing in the team fight as having Hellforce armor or Army of Hell. Right, same exact thing. Overall, they have all of them have the exact same effect when it comes to team fighting. Or this is worse for pushing. But this one has the other benefit of your Demon Lieutenants getting reduced by 1 second. 1 second, let me check if all the recording is fine. Alright, it's fine. So, it reduces by 1 second. So, this is the 60-second cooldown and smites for experience. This talent is better in every single way because it's better pushing because you have more Demon Lieutenants out. It has the exact same equivalent in team fights almost as the other ones. Right? So the difference is between team fights and pushing. Between all of these three talents, they all do the same thing, right? They all do the same thing, but one is better. Battleborn is infinitely better than all of them, just because this allows you to generate more experience, and there's no choice. Battleborn is just better, and you should always pick it, because it's just way better. Even if, when you're thinking about build coherence, they could have simply moved them around. You could pick more of the talents and still have build coherence. But these two talents synergize later on with Chain of Command and Sin's Gas, but you're picking a talent that's 100% worse to have later synergy, which I don't think that's how you should do things. You're picking a worse talent to have later synergy. It seems so stupid to me. Now, here's another bad one. Art of Chaos is so dumb. If a glow hits 2 or more heroes, restore 30 mana. If it hits 3 or more heroes, gain extra 5 annihilation. This never happens. You rarely get 2 heroes. Not rarely. But it doesn't happen frequently enough where it's useful. And you hitting 3 or more is like a fucking dream. Where once in like a couple of, you hit maybe 3 in like a good like a couple of team fights, you get 50 annihilation max. That's so bad. All these have the purpose of gaining annihilation. That's their purpose. Their sole purpose is getting annihilation, with like a little added benefit. They have like a little benefit plus annihilation. They have Master of Destruction. All sharp burn damages applies to all enemies in the area around the target and grants 2 annihilation per hero hit. This happens so infrequently. Well, one, to finish the channel. Doesn't happen enough for you to get that annihilation. It's not worth it. And the explosion, it's nice for pushing when you hit the tower. In teamfights, it really doesn't hit that often, right? But it has a purpose. Deal AoE damage and get annihilation, right? And this allows you to spam more Q, so deal more damage, and deal more AoE damage because you have more mana to spam your Q more often. Especially if you go Gluttony, you run out of mana way more often. And you have Bombardment, which the purpose of this is to deal AoE damage and get annihilation, right? But Bombardment does it the best out of all of those. Even if you go for a specific build, Bombardment is still better because it gives you the ability for your auto attack to cleave. If your auto attack cleaves, means you can Q wave and then start attacking the backline, and then the backline dies, so you get guaranteed stacks. You get even a range increase, so you can be safer when you do that. And the range increase, and you get annihilation for each hit when you hit an enemy hero. Which means, when you have Bombardment, you can, like, one attack that hits 3 people is better than Art of Chaos and Master of Destruction. And you can get 3 attacks in total. So you can get 9 annihilation stacks from 1 Q. And you have to get lucky with this one. This gives you better wave clear in Master of Destruction because you don't want to start lasering lanes. So they all do the exact same thing, but in a slightly different way. Yet again, you're picking these talents you're picking significantly worse talents for synergy, when there is no reason you should not pick Bombardment. This is the best. If you don't pick Bombardment, you usually, by level 20, you're minus 100 and something stacks. Yes, it's that big. Like, the Dispersy is around 100 annihilation stacks, which is a fuck ton. You can see how much better this talent is. Now, Demonic Invasion, it's just not good. The damage on it is just not noticeable enough. And you need Tide of Sin for your Q if you're not Greed, like I'm going for Greed, to actually kill, like...
Choose a talent.
If I had like any more annihilation, all the backline would actually be dead. So you need Tide of Sin for your glow to be useful. To be able to one-shot a lane, right? Demonic Invasion, you can't do that, so you have to be present in the lane, so you can't push it from afar. The Demonic Invasion just doesn't deal enough damage. In a team fight, Tide of Sin is gonna be way more useful. It's better for poking. When it comes to pushing, it's just not that impressive. It's better to have like a lane push by itself when you Q it. Have like the minions hit at like the thingy, the wall. Just does not provide enough value. It's not. The fact that it only lasts up to 8 seconds is just not good. It's not good. There's no purpose in picking this. Also, they took Blackpool, which, yes, it was annoying to have to press Alt R to put it under you and then Q. Sometimes you made mistakes, but it was way more interesting than Tide of Sin. Tide of Sin is boring. You just press R and place this. It takes less time than if I had the pool, but the pool buffed my Demon Warriors, buffed my E. It buffed everything I did, so I could get more pushing out of it. Now they differentiated, like, this is for a different reason. But they forgot to make Demonic Invasion good. And this is like a mandatory. You don't ever pick this. It's just not good. Even if you're trying to push, just because you have this, your lane aren't gonna be as pushed in your favor, so you're not gonna get any pushing done at all. 13. Brutish Vanguard. Enemy warriors gain 25 increased health and slow nearby enemies by 20. This is very good for auto-attacking. Your demon warriors are tankier. If this is good with Battleborn, and you can get more auto attack from Bombardment and Wrath. So this has clear synergy, right? The slow. When you're going for a greed build, you want to have your lanes pushed out, so having Chain of Command is really good to buff the minions and maybe the warrior, usually there's no warrior, or it bolsters a push really well. Alright, so this makes sense. It has different functionality than the other ones. It also buffs this, but again, picking a worse talent for later on synergy is not good. You have Kidea's Kiss, which is the channel time of Alpha Burn, which is good, and then it heals you for 8% of maximum health. Makes sense. All of these have different functionalities, they do different things, and they synergize well with their talents. This is the best tier he has. With this build, you go with Vanguard. Now, this one. Hell Rift. If your sharp burn chance for his full duration, Demon Warrior is summoned on target location and all Demon Warriors deal 100 increased damage for 4 seconds. Now this is like supposed to be for pushing. That's the point. Right? That's the main point of this. So increase Demon Warrior, so you want to pick this to have more of them. Right? That's the point. This does something different. I like this talent. It's just this talent is bad and you can't pick it. So Hell Rift becomes instantly unpickable. The point of this is to push, but you don't have this for pushing to heal a building because you have to pick Tide of Sin. Have Sin's Grasp, increase the range of Sharp Burn by 20%, gives yourself one chance for its full duration, its cooldown reduced by 50%. This is also a good talent, especially if you went Kidea's Keys. You get more healing, you get more damage, you have the bonus Rage on it, so you're more safe. This makes sense for an E-build. Have Total Annihilation, which just increases the globe percentage damage, right? All of these work for a different build, have good synergy. I just like it. Most of the time, since you have to pick these talents, you won't go for Sin's full hair lift ever. You have Sin's Grasp. If you go for Wrath, you always go for Brutish Vanguard, so you always go for Total Annihilation. This talent here is also good, but less. Have Siegebreaker, which I yet again I explain myself why. Have Blackpool, which is a good alternative if you don't get 400 stacks by level 20. If you're a Wrath build, you should definitely have it, or if you're going with a good greed team that could help you stack. This is a good talent, good for team fights. Have Pride, which is just good all-around talent. I think when you have Pride, you don't actually need to empower your R if you're not Pride anymore. Clear. You have Trample, which you can be aggressive with it or you can be defensive with it. I like it. But you can already see how, because these first talents are such an important part of Azmodans' kit, and the way that his talents are put together, all of these doing the exact same thing, creating an actual build, it's very hard because you have to pick a worse talent, right? It makes sense, like because it makes sense to put talents that give you bonus annihilation, but making all the talents pretty much do the exact same thing, it's kind of odd. Like even if you go Gluttony, Bombardment is just better because it allows you to stack better off minion waves. It gives you even more, like these two talent tiers hamper Azmodans' build diversity so much, you're kind of like picking the exact same thing every single game. It's not fun. Kind of gets boring. It gets boring picking Battleborn and Bombardment every single and Tide of Sin. These three talents, you pick them every single time. If you're Wrath, you go Brutish Vanguard. If you're Greed, you go Chain of Command. And if you feel like it, you get a lot of lasers, the excuse is pretty good. That doesn't mean you should pick Master of Destruction ever, just to make Kidea's Kiss better. Even though it has clear synergy, it's just the synergy is not good enough to help it. And the more time, and I will say this is pretty good for like an attack build because you spend less time actually channeling your laser and more time attacking. So these are kind of interchangeable for an auto attack build. I recommend you pick this down if you go greed. And here, since Grasp, it's a totally good way, but for an auto attack you spend more time channeling then, right? And at this point you kind of feel bad for not picking this, but you should not ever. It's just bad. You kind of just pick the same talents over and over again, and he really doesn't have build diversity, and it kind of sucks. So I hope you like me rambling about Raynor and Azmodan. I think Raynor is the clear winner of this of this patch. Not only because he's kind of overpowered, but mainly because I think he's a better created rework than Azmodan, in my opinion. So yeah, that was it. I'll try to do more of these. It's the first time I actually thought about this. I thought about a lot about Raynor's rework, and yeah, really just want to tell somebody about my feelings, my feelings. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll try to do more of these when more rewards come out. Bye bye.